it's funny, Coach, how the tides turned a little bit, the sentiment. That was a very alarming performance against Seattle. And if you can just, in very basic terminology for our audience, and me too, because, if you're talking the language that you and Tiki understand, I won't even understand it. So in the most basic concepts, what exactly is Teddy Bridgewater lacking physically? What do you see?
Well, that's what we don't know. I mean, coming out of the draft, let's remember, people were worried about he's kind of a svelte guy, doesn't have a lot of power. They wondered if he could stay healthy, and he stayed relatively healthy.
Yep.
Does he have the ability to drive the ball down the field? Does he have that touch? Norv Turner, and who better to judge it than a guy like Norv Turner, but thinks a lot of this guy. I kind of thought he was heading that way. I have some questions, and I'll defer to the Bill Walsh equation, as we just alluded to. Particularly now, in that, if they continue to stay healthy defensively, we're dominating on defense. Adrian Peterson, best back in the league, pound away that way. And he's throwing the ball 20 times a game, 25 times a game. I don't know that we can get to the end of the season and still say definitively that he is going to be a guy. Well, now we're in a situation we're going to find out, because the defense is beat up. They're missing Barr. They're missing Smith. They're missing a number of guys defensively. They're going into a tough, hostile environment. This is going to fall on the quarterback. He's facing a guy, a very hot Carson Palmer. So everything's, from an evaluation standpoint, not necessarily from the Vikings need to win and get into the playoffs short term, but long term, is this the guy? We've got to. If I'm a coach from that standpoint, I like what this matchup is over the next month, because I'm going to find out whether I've got my guy or not.
Yeah, we're talking to Brian Billick, of course. So you follow him on Twitter at Coach Billick, and the game tonight on the network. You've got the Vikings and the Cards. We're talking about Teddy Bridgewater. 8:25 kick on Eastern. Eastern, I should say. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Another quarterback, and it's obvious he's been in the news for a lot of different reasons, is Johnny Manziel. And it's less about can he prove that he belongs in the National Football League. That conversation can only work its way out by us seeing it or not seeing it. The question I have for you from a coaching standpoint, do you feel like Coach Pettine has mismanaged this a little bit? Because as much as it's been about what Johnny can do on the field, for me, it's felt like he's treating him like a kid, like a father would a kid, and punishing him for things that maybe shouldn't matter. I'm just curious your take on it.
Well, the last off-the-field instance for Johnny Manziel was in and of itself, was that egregious? Probably not. But given his history and where he's been and his problems, yeah. He's earned the right to be sat down because of what was a fairly innocuous event, simply because of what he's done leading up to it. And I think, at least from the standpoint of Mike Pettine, and I don't know in the Cleveland Browns who falls on what part of it, we know Johnny Manziel can't play in this league, and that ship has sailed. We've missed yes. Have they mismanaged it? In my opinion, yeah. They should have started the guy from day one and given him an entire season to find out whether this guy could play or not. I think they know that, and I think that's why they've used every excuse. If Austin had played even passably well last week, would we be seeing Johnny Manziel start?
No.
Austin was pathetic. So, all of a sudden now Manziel has learned his lesson. Now we're going to play him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see him play in meaningless games. I don't know what we're going to learn about Johnny Manziel, other than what we already know is that his abilities don't translate into the NFL.